You know quite well that the victim is Iran, the victim is Palestine, the victim is Lebanon.
You see that? He's starting to grasp onto the repetitive rhetoric now. It becomes a cycle you cannot ignore, and I will keep reminding you, just in case you forget. They, the Islamic regime, will exploit victimhood and vulnerability when challenged, but incite violence and destruction when dominant. Boy oh boy, do they know how to be victims and perpetrators at the same time. This is the epitome of gaslighting and projection of Orwellian proportions. George Orwell's 1984 should have been 2026, because what you're witnessing right here is the mastermind of Islamic-driven propaganda. And just in case you still don't know, this is Mohammad Marandi. You could say he's the equivalent of today's Joseph Goebbels. His father was the personal doctor of Khamenei, he himself a nuclear advisor to the previous mass murderer Raisi, and was part of the IRGC's Rasulallah Brigade, which was one of the forces in which Hezbollah was born from. Yet, the BBC, CNN, Sky, the ABC, Piers Morgan and many others continue to platform him. Amazing. Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl beautifully noted in his iconic piece, Man's Search for Meaning, that live as if you were living for the second time and as though you had acted wrongly the first time. What is one implication we can extract from this? Accountability. Something that the Islamic world not merely lacks, but is completely devoid of. It's always the same playbook. It's exactly how they appeal to the masses. Victimize yourself and destroy as much as practicably possible. That is how they appeal to the social Marxists. Ideology is the destination, but psychology is the journey in which that corresponding destination is reached. Buzzwords like victim, Zionist imperialism, Epstein class, resistance, Jewish ethno-supremacy, and so on. That is how they appeal to the masses. Think about it. It's porn for the Marxist left, but it's also porn for the neo-Nazi right.
I love the Shiites. The Shiites are the real Muslims. Shiites are the real Muslims. Never forget who fought for the Palestinians. Never forget who fought Israel for the whole world, for all Goyim. It was Iran. It was the Shiites. Supreme Leader, if you can hear me, thank you. Supreme Leader, if you can hear me, thank you. Thank you for taking on Israel for all the Goyim when no one else would.
Reminds me of Occam's razor, the psychological problem-solving notion that the simplest explanation is usually the most attractive, the sexiest one. Ergo, anti-Zionist resistance and anti-American imperialism sounds more attractive than Iranian people's revolution against Islamic occupiers. Which one do you think the social Marxists or the neo-Nazi would be more attracted to? Remember when Abraham Lincoln said, "You can fool all of the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all of the time." Right. The Islamic regime occupying Iran is facing its own existential crisis right now, and their end is nigh. And I'll explain why. But nevertheless, it must persist somehow and fool some of the people all the time, or all the people some of the time, right? So whilst they're screaming and begging the world to watch their satanic ceremonial circus for a man who festered a global-scale Islamist virus for 37 years, there are several indicators as to why they're in deep trouble. This so-called funeral was broadcast across the entire global media outlet. The regime worked overtime on trying to make the world believe that millions attended. Putting aside the immediate refuted AI imagery, putting aside IRGC paid Western influences, putting aside the masses coming from foreign regions, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Uganda, India, Russia, Afghanistan, etc. Putting aside the replica of North Korean style videographic propaganda. Putting aside the students, employees, universities, and general citizens being coerced into attending the funeral, or there will be consequences.
دستورالعمل واضحه، هیچ گروهی رو استثناء نکرده. من خواهش میکنم که برای کلیه پرسنلتون حتما کار تعریف کنید. اگر که برای پرسنلی نمیتوانید کار تعریف بکنید، ما فضاهایی رو داریم که براشون کار تعریف کنیم. خواهش میکنم که طبق دستورالعمل به هیچ نیروی اعلام نکنید که نیاز نیست بیان، چون بعدا اینها اگه تردد نداشته باشن ممکنه که ما به عنوان غیبت به هر حال رد بکنیم، چون تمام مرخصی ها و تمام موضوعات دیگه طبق دستورالعمل اداره کل سرمایه انسانی لغو شده و کلیه همکاران باید حضور داشته باشن. هیچ گروهی هم استثناء نشده از این قضیه. جهت استحضارتون گفتم عرض بکنم، حتما این موضوع مد نظر داشته.
Putting aside all the inflated totalitarian narratives, the population of Iran is roughly 90 million. Even if we were to grant the idea that 5% of the entire population attended, that's rounded up to 5 million attendees. Nowhere to be seen. Now the question is, why would the global media, amplified by the regime itself, want to broadcast this funeral so much? Do you think all those Western influencers asked themselves why the internet was shut down during the largest street massacre in modern history, when the nation was actually mourning, but have cameras and the press literally everywhere to cover the less than 1% of the population? Why is that? Why would it be that the longest politically motivated communications blackout was placed on the entire nation of Iran, such that Iranians cannot communicate with the world? Why is that? The Islamic regime right now wants to portray a pseudo-story of national unity. They want you to believe that any attack on the IRGC and the Islamic occupational forces is an attack on Iran, but it's not, because the Islamic regime is not Iran. And here's where the regime's narrative collapses. The regime itself is essentially divided into three components: the clergy, the quote-unquote parliament, and the IRGC. Right now, there are only a handful of the quote-unquote parliamentarians who are engaging in the talks. Meanwhile, the constituents of the IRGC and the clergy not only oppose the parliamentarians, but are openly calling for the death upon them, for their treason against the regime. And the hardcore regime sympathizers are also on the same boat. They're at each other's throats, and it's awesome. Outside of Iran is the IRGC's primary muscle, Hezbollah. They are being choked, and never has Lebanon ever been closer to disarming Hezbollah and making itself completely sovereign whilst establishing peace with Israel. The Lebanese people want their Lebanon back. That suffocates the IRGC even more. And so, due to their fright, they don't know whether or not to continue with this quote-unquote deal, because either way, they're trapped. Underground opposition forces to the regime within Iran are mobilizing once again and getting ready for the next uprising. And it's very possible that this time they'll be armed. We're already seeing assassinations of IRGC and Basij members. Slowly but surely, it brews. And then we have probably the most critical point of all. According to the constitution of the Islamic regime, the Velayat al-Faqih itself, the final decision maker of all is none other than the supreme leader himself, Mojtaba Khamenei. Now we know that the IRGC is running the show right now, but not on paper. On paper, it's Mojtaba. It's almost 5 months now, he's nowhere to be seen. No image, no audio, nothing. He couldn't even attend his own father's funeral. That may suggest that he may possibly be dead. Many people do speculate that he's dead, but I'm still saying I don't know, although it's very probable at this stage. And the regime will eventually have to announce it. If he is dead, they're in big trouble. It's a lot of mess, a lot of chaos, a lot of infighting. If he's not dead, why isn't he out yet? Nevertheless, the Islamic regime continues its ongoing pursuit of flexure, only upon their primary victim whom they fear the most, the Iranian people themselves. But as they continue to make a fool out of themselves, threaten the United States, Israel, and Trump, keep your chin up and enjoy the ride. They're collapsing right before our eyes. It's just a matter of time. They will never be able to fool everyone all the time.